Whoa, now it's the Toothless Wonder coming back with another one. I just got off work. Uh, Found me a little well lit area on this Christmas Eve as we trend in the pagan holiday of Christmas Day that I don't celebrate. So don't make me no never mind. Just feel the need to, put in a good, I think, 12 and a half hours on them. Short staff. You know what I mean? Made it do what it do. I just come out here to my spot. Since I've been back working, I really haven't been able to come out here and just sit with myself and just marinate, reflect, ponder, you know, uh, like again, reflect while at the same time attempt to, look forward with vision, so on and so forth. But I'm just going to piggyback off of, I think the last one I did in relation to uh, TD Jakes, right? And I'm being honest. Now, I'm not the judgmental type, right? Um, but I guess we all do judge to some degree. I do it for the sense of navigation purposes, and as I call it, the you know, bamboozled again network. These people and entities or the spirits operating in these people are just proliferating through society. So much so, and I'm gonna call this you know particular post, video, whatever. It's about isolation, and it's been very strategic, right? Now, technically, I've been isolated, like even geographic. Like growing up, I grew up in the country. My neighbors were related to me, so of course, had these dreams or visions of the world, wanted to experience certain things, so on and so forth. Then I start, perceiving, understanding. Like I can be in a social grouping, but I'm always like the outsider. Like I'm cool with it, they're cool with me, but I'm not fully all the way in. Like I got my own brain, or I don't believe in doing this particular thing, or whatever, whatever, whatever. So I've always been kind of quote unquote set apart. I guess you have to, walk the path to learn certain things, so on and so forth. Um, and then after I had a near death experience and lost a significant other, it put me on another track of isolation to a greater degree, in which my higher power, Yahuwah, um, he turned the mirror around on. And I seen it before all this stuff happened, but again, my own thinking was in the way. Like, yeah, I see they're not doing, yeah, but again, not being judgmental. Who am I to judge? Da da da. I seen the futility and the foolishness of the people, place, and things I was engaged in. Right now, as we fast forward to this current time, dispensation in time, right, the isolation, which was very vexing, and like, why, and I'm a decent guy, I make mistakes, but ultimately, for the most part, I had people's best interests at heart. You know what I mean? Which has been, accounts for other things, other attacks, so on and so forth. Again, because I'm not like that. I'm not necessarily the social opportunistic guy. Like, oh, let me cut into this particular person because I think this will benefit me this way. If we build, like, first of all, I don't cut into people. If we build a rapport, it's because of we've established a personal rapport between individuals. Like, I don't group up well, but I know a lot of people that will establish personal rapport, but on whatever level. Um, but now as I sit here and I just saw the TD Jakes, I guess I seen on Facebook where, and one of my classmates who's slightly, and he's actually a pastor, right, and I would consider him of the fold of the mainstream church, right. um, he had tagged the post with "Amen," like he agreed with what he's saying. So I caught a quick clip in which he said that, if you're tuning in to listen to me, address these rumors or whatever case may be, I'm not gonna give lies the time of day. And you hear people in church saying, "Amen," yeah, yeah. I'm like, okay. I instantly discern this, right? But here's why. Because once it's, you know, um, the Most High is using it for the purposes of purging, refining, correcting, so on and so forth. And me personally, somehow I just seem to see stuff other people don't see, even though it's blatantly apparent to me. I think this is also why we're commanded tonight worship idols or idolize people, idolize myself. If we're not careful, I can turn myself into an idol, or attempt to personally take credit for all the stuff Yahweh did in my life as I attempted to walk the path that He had set. So he's basically saying, and then he was like, I'm not going to talk about lies. My purpose of being up here is to preach the truth. You don't do that either. So you're not going to address the truth, which is you half sweet and by your mannerism, and any real man can tell you a little buttery, right? Or zest as they call it. So you're not going to address the truth and just call it a lie. Then you get in the pulpit, say you're preaching the truth, but you're actually preaching false doctrines. That's why I started like years ago the anti-bamboozlement. And I tell the brother in the truth, like, okay, you get rid of drugs and alcohol, that's cool, right? But then you have to become wise to the nuances of life, because you'll just be sober led astray or idolizing people because of titles, so on and so forth. Now, I can only speak for myself, and I'm pretty sure others that I viewed on YouTube that if you've walked or it's been set for you to walk an isolated path, one, you don't care nothing about no titles. You don't care nothing what nobody think. In the sense of, now, if I've done wrong, then I'll be the first to admit it. But you're not people pleasing. Your identity doesn't come from or go up or down or take a hit based on who likes you this day and if they don't like you the next. It actually comes from all the stuff you've overcome that most people won't attempt to make a run at, which is just dealing with yourself. You see what I'm saying? And I know it's a common theme among a lot of these black Christian church leaders, And in my personal research, I've seen this, right? You don't choose to preach the word. You get called to do that. And if he calls you to do that, he doesn't call you and then you start preaching the next day. Typically, he isolates you to purge you out of the world, titles, the approval of man, all this other stuff, so that you can actually preach the true word and what you're called to do in season or out of season, because technically, even if we look at scripture, when people were doing that, they might have, been able to help people, but the power structure or the status quo hated these people. You don't notice that thing with mainstream Christian pastors. They all have effeminate mannerisms, and they're all immersed in you can't tell the difference. If they weren't preaching, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between them and someone who's just in the world if they didn't talk. If you just seen how they move or how they operate, you would not be able to tell the difference. I don't see any of these preachers talking about being set apart. I don't see any of these preachers actually talking about sin. And I got mine. I don't see any of them, okay, I'm a follower of Christ, whatever, but I'm at P. Diddy's parties all the time. These people love the world. And they know people don't read the Bible. When the Bible says that if you're a lover of the world, you're an enemy of God, Yahuwah. These people are friends of the world. These people will fight to hold on to their lot in life or their lot in this world. But if you walk an isolated path for an extended period, you see that it's all an illusion. Now, I don't know how it is everywhere else, but in America, it's definitely an illusion. That's why the world at this point offers me nothing. I'm in the world, not of it. Now, yes, I can use certain resources and, things of that nature, whatever. But if you take all that away, I'm still operating the same way because it's now become a lifestyle. You can't get me shut up. I don't want to hang out with y'all. I don't like, oh, he's doing great because now he's in this social grouping. I don't care nothing about that. But that's what walking in isolation does. Now I have like friends, but I don't like hang with them all day long or whatever. Because all my friends kind of move a similar way. We might have different belief systems, so on and so forth. But we do, communicate when we have time. Because we're all kind of lone wolves who get together to build, but then after that, we're both on our own individual campaigns. And then we because you spend so much time alone without distractions or other people attempting to, impose their beliefs on you, so on and so forth, you can actually see things for what they really are. And at first, it is very depressing. But then I guess you just get stronger in it. It's no different than, that scene in The Matrix where they were saying something about we have to lead the people in the Matrix because if we attempt to unplug them, they won't be able to mentally handle it. I never want to be one of them brothers. I want to know what it is and deal with it, no matter how vexing it is or crushing to what I thought prior. I'd rather know. And I'm just perceiving that the vast majority, as they said, in the word, that in the end time there will be a great falling away from the church. Like you saying, you preaching, the truth, but you preach the false doctrine of tithing. You see what I'm saying? And I think he's actually come out and said that. He's, made some emphasis about holding, mainly black women accountable, and they got some backlash behind that. But nobody wants to run afoul of anybody. Nobody wants to like stir, not maliciously, but in the truth. Because if you actually that's actually the highest form of love, telling someone the truth. If I don't care nothing about you, I'll tell you any old thing. Or if I wanted to be in a society where women are by perceived or burdened down by their sins or so on, it's easy to manipulate women. I tell you the truth because I actually care. If I ain't care nothing about it, I'll just tell you what everybody else tell you. Or I'll just proceed wherever you're at with it at that time and then find the end like everybody else did. And then if I got any sense, once you start doing whatever, then I'm going on about to the next one. Because there's a plethora of them out here. But that's what isolation does. It helps you see yourself first. And once you see yourself truly, you can see everything around you for what it is. Bullshit. It's all motherfucking bull. Like I work at a job and we're commanded to work, so on and so forth. But I'm getting paid in something that's an illusion. Fiat paper money is an illusion. I just attempt to use the fake money to get real tangible resources and assets with vision for what I perceive and know script is going to happen. I just don't know when. So that kind of, like I'll be at the job and everybody call me crazy. I take it as a compliment. Basically, you're saying I'm nothing like y'all. That's the game plan. Because what would being like y'all be? Overly promiscuous, delusional, inwardly empty. Nah, I'm good. And trust believe, I get it. Now I've always kind of got it, but to the depth. Now I had to walk an isolated path. Like I'm so saying, the quote unquote recovery world, but I'm not in that one either. But I had to walk an isolated path in that. Like spine, okay, I'll take suggestions. None of that stuff worked for me. It wasn't supposed to work. I was supposed to come to my own answer. I was supposed to be by myself until he feel ready for whatever. And I'm cool with that now. I struggle with it some days with my own urges and desires for the most part. I just don't act on it. Like there's nothing, from my understanding, there's nothing wrong with being tempted. It's when you yield to it. And with the grace and mercy he done shown me, I'm very leery of misstepping. Now I've learned this one too, because nobody's perfect. So I used to feel like I had to be perfect. I had to keep my game tight at all times, on top of myself, But in the instances that I made a genuine mistake based on not having all the information, that was genuine. That wasn't my intent. He's covered me. So now, of course, I don't try to make mistakes, but when I do, I learn the lesson from it, so it don't keep happening. So the mistake was actually a good thing because now I learned something I didn't previously know. So now, with being strategic, I do take chances, and let's say it don't work. The vast majority of stuff I attempt to do, financially or as far as like what I'm trying to do personally, don't work. But I'll just find out, that wasn't for me, or I can still do it, just not right now, or it can be done. I just have to do this first. You see what I'm saying? I don't think people practice that level of self-awareness, nor do they want to, because especially when you initially coming out the matrix, and this is what God did to me. He turned the mirror and showed me. So I can't even remember the last time I played the blame game, or these people did this to me, or this is like this and da da. Yeah, I already know all that, so I'm fool with it, or I understand what it is and I navigate my way through it. So typically, I go through the same stuff everybody else goes through. I just don't have the same outcomes everybody else do, which puts me kind of set apart just in and of that. For the new year, I'm definitely, attempting to go. I'm taking carbs out my diet and bread. I'm 41 now, so just want to, just try different things, see if it increase my energy levels. Kind of force myself to purge my flesh, so ultimately I can make a good run of cigarettes. But I've only learned that through isolation and attempting to, I think, how's it said in the word? I'm paraphrasing, that a man desires wisdom and knowledge, like he retracts back on himself or he isolates himself. Because if you always got a bunch of people in your ear, or you keep hearing these various, whatever, it probably will seep in subconsciously. And then you'll start, desiring certain, but not really realize why I want to do this now. Or why do I feel like that? Because you keep hearing it. You know what I mean? But I'm noticing it, like, especially with a lot that have national notoriety, they haven't gone through any isolation phase. They haven't. Now, everyone goes through just life, period. But they haven't been accursed by the, you know what I'm saying, by the world, or they haven't ran afoul of any power structure like they did back in the day. They're ingratiating themselves to the power structure. None of these pastors preach about what's coming, which they put on the news every day, but they ain't talking about it. And I guess that's maybe because of the 501c3 thingy thing, tax exemption. I don't think they're allowed to cover certain. All these people are in bed with the world. No pun intended. So if you're in bed with the world, you're gonna do things in the bed that the world do, a la TDJ, a la Jamal Brown. All these individuals to me had the same spirit. They all flimsy. I mean, I ain't saying, I ain't not. It is what it is. No real live hellified man. Now I can take the meat and spit out the bones, but I don't want. You're not gonna be my spiritual authority, because ultimately, Yeshua is the head of every man. You see what I'm saying? So we taking Yeshua out, put some preacher man with, Versace on and whatever, and now we follow him. And then you wonder why, okay, with all this money the black church had, how come our families are still in shambles? How come, there aren't any Christian communities and Christian grocery stores? And you see what I'm saying? With all these churches we got, they're taking all this money. The neighborhood's still getting worse around the church. But they'll hold up in buildings and act like they doing something. I don't see none of these people out on the battlefield, 2x2, or going to the, the lost and no, they going to rich folk and hanging out with them. You know what I'm saying? But all this can be seen through isolation. I can see it because I've been isolated, and they can't see it and operate in it because they haven't been. Nor do they want to, I perceive. If you were to strip these folk of everything, right, they're not going to operate the same way. Because everything, like, whatever, like, titles, like, or, so, like, it's not in you, it's on them. So if I strip, if they get stripped of it, they're still not doing the same thing. Where if you've been isolated, like I was telling the people where I work at, like, I've been operating like this. It's just now I'm around people on a somewhat consistent basis for you to see it. But it's not like, oh, I'm around people, let me start acting like this. I've been doing this. I was doing this when nobody was looking. I was doing this when I was broke for years on end. I've been not caring about people thought. So now, and they kind of like, I guess I'm different. So it's like, intriguing, but I still don't care. Now I'm cordial, of course, and, I'm respectful and all that. But whether you like me or not doesn't affect me at all. It didn't make me, so it can't break me. But then when you had these type of, they comprehend it not. And I understand that. I still try though, you know what I mean? And maybe I plant a seed and it grow later on, such as with myself. But I guess God knew, since he made the end from the beginning, like if you got a certain type of seed, if it gets this amount of rain planted in this environment, in this time, it'll start to produce this type of fruit. And I think, but see, I don't know that. So, I mean, I still try, not, to the point where I'm expending myself, but, whenever I tell them, like, nah, that don't work. Well, where's the evidence at then? Other than you saying it. Can't be. Then, oh, you're crazy. Thank you. I appreciate that. But, yeah, I just wanted to come through with a quick one just on isolation, how it gives you clarity. It's actually a good thing if you keep walking it. Especially here in America where it seems like, so especially in the social media age, social validation and attention is like the new currency that I don't want. Now, people, see certain attributes and they respect. Yeah, no doubt, ain't nothing but love. But it's not something I need. It's more of like a guidepost or a marker of the purging process that Yahweh put me through, which then helps me trust in Him more. Because you can't, like at the time when I was going in the heat of it, it didn't make any sense. What's the purpose of this? I wasn't thinking about character. I mean, I thought about it, but child support don't care about that. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm a great character guy now, so my daughter mother's going to whoop. Nobody care about that. But I couldn't perceive at that. Even like now, I can't perceive all the nuances. It's like he was preparing me. It's like he short-stopped my life like over a decade ago. So now I'm able to fully function and operate in what's going on now that I couldn't perceive way back then. But this video a little longer than most though, because I just wanted to try to break down a few of the nuances, or just from my perspective. Feel free to comment, give me some inspiration, or give me some insight. Holla at y'all. One love. Ooh, ah!